Good morning, everybody. Welcome back, and happy Monday to everybody. Welcome back to The Big Thing. Solo episode today, but it's a good episode. A lot of stuff to cover. Maverick, Top Gun, $1 billion. Wanted it to happen. A couple times I said it would. A couple times I said it wouldn't. Well, when I said it wouldn't, I was wrong because it hit $1 billion. And we'll talk about that for sure. This is the first $1 billion movie that Tom Cruise ever did. That's big news. Speaking of Top Gun Maverick, director Kaczynski is talking about his Black Hole remake. That was interesting to hear about because he's got the movie out on Netflix, and he's got some heat on him. So get the projects moving. Deadpool 3. Writers talk about how to incorporate Deadpool into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Going to be talking about that. The Duffer Brothers talking about a Stranger Things spinoff. Elvis and Black Phone do pretty good at the box office. A lot of stuff to cover this weekend. Already on a Monday. And if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, will you? Subscribe to that channel. We're almost there, man. We're like 49,050 or something right now. We're almost at that 50,000. So get us there if you can. We got the big thing. It is going to be a good show here today. I'm excited to talk about it. Let's do it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Monday. Good week here today. Got some stuff going on. Got some things going on. Right now on the channel, did a Thor Love and Thunder right out of the theater reaction. Full review on that coming next week. Bar goes up on that. So we can't do a full review yet. So that'll be out next week, but you can see the out of the theater reaction. That's up on the channel at the moment. I saw The Boys season 1, and I put a review up on that. It's so stupid on season 2, and I'm like 5 episodes in right now, and I'll have a review, spoiler heavy season for 2 coming up pretty soon. Ideally, I wanted to get that tomorrow. I just don't know if I can finish the rest of the episodes by then, but I'm going to try. But I started watching. I love the show, by the way. I just absolutely love it. And I was watching season 2 in the beginning of it. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, this is an interesting take on how to start it. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I didn't know that happened. When did that? Well, they didn't even show us how that happened. That's silly. You have to figure that happened during the off season. Okay, that's interesting writing, but whatever. And then I watched that, then I watched another one. And as I looked at it, I'm like, I'm already on 4 episodes? I feel like I just watched 3. Totally missed the first episode. So I went back and watched episode 1 of season 2. It almost felt like a prequel to the first 2 I'd watched. It was fine. I was a little confused, but otherwise, I'm all caught up on continuity in season 2 at the moment. So I'll be doing a review of that. That'll be coming up. Excited to talk about that. I never once doubted everybody telling me how hyped and how great the show was. It was just a matter of time and getting to it. And I finally did. My goal is to be able to watch the season 3 and get either right to the finale by the time it airs, or at least put out a season 3 review when it's still relevant for when it comes out. So just to give everybody a heads up where I'm at with that. All right, big news. Top Gun Maverick, man. $1 billion. In this time. It was a smart move by Tom Cruise not putting it out on streaming, right? Because people were talking about what if he was going to do it or not. If there was Paramount, Paramount Plus wanted it on. Or Paramount wanted it on Paramount Plus for sure. And he's like, no way, man. We're putting that out in the theater. And what a smart move it was. Because Paramount, and this is from Dark Horizons, Paramount and Skydance's blockbuster Top Gun Maverick, it has crossed the $1 billion global box office mark over the weekend. It is the first film of the year to do so, and only the second since the pandemic began. The other one was, of course, Spider-Man No Way Home, which made it to $1.9 billion. Jurassic World Dominion has hit $750 million. That's pretty big, and could join them in a few weeks. Maverick achieved it in the space of a 1-month period and without the aid of both Chinese or Russian box office. It's pretty impressive. It is the 5th weekend for the film. A further 30 $8.5 million to its domestic tally, which now stands at $521 million. Wow. It's also neck and neck with Elvis for the top spot this weekend, and both estimated to gross $30.5 million for the 3 days. The final numbers will be known tomorrow. That's so big on so many different levels because like the last part of it was the most impressive to me, that it's neck to neck with Elvis right now, not Jurassic World Dominion. What was the other ones? Not Lightyear. Lightyear's getting annihilated. It's the king of the summer. It's the king, and it's not a Marvel film. It's not a Star Wars film. It's not a DC film. It's still a legacy film, and it's a recognizable IP, obviously. But it's the reason why this movie is doing good is not just because of the Top Gun name, and not just because I want to go see Tom Cruise in a movie. It's a great movie. And it doesn't rely on it relies on character, it relies on emotion. It of course has big set pieces or big moments, and they use their budget wisely. I mean, the movie cost, what was it, $180 million to make, something like that, or maybe more. I don't remember. It's a big number how much it costs. But they spent it wisely. And it's paying off in hand over fist. And you look at it, I do worry that they're going to push for a third one. And I don't know if that's necessarily a terrible thing. It just makes me nervous because a lot of times when a movie makes a lot of money, it was supposed to be the end. Let's just make another one because people want to see this. Now, Tom Cruise has proven, though, when it comes to sequels and the Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise does not put out stuff that it does not give his all at. I mean, I think everybody, whether you like Tom Cruise or don't like Tom Cruise, you cannot deny that the man puts in 150% every single time that he is doing something. Every time. And I think he'll do it again for the third one. It's just, this movie had, 30 some odd years to really develop, push through. If you put a sequel out, you're going to have 2-3 years. And I don't know if it was meant for a third. And if it is, who does it focus on? Do you focus on Rooster with Miles Teller's character? Do you focus on some of the other pilots? Do you focus back on Maverick again? I feel like his arc is pretty complete after the last one. I think you stay away from it. I know that's harder. That's easier said than done, especially if you're Paramount and you don't really have a lot of. You're trying to compete with the others, with Disney and Warner Brothers and Universal at this point, and that's what do you have? You got Mission Impossible, right? But that's it. And you got Tom Cruise. You get him twice with a franchise. So I get the lure. I get the, hey man, we got to try to do this because we need to make some more cash. And look, $1 billion. People want to see it. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be right in the theater, ready to watch it. So I get it. But $1 billion, man, that's a lot of money, and especially as they mentioned in that report, without the help of those other countries. Imagine if you did have those countries, well, how much more would it push towards and helping get to that Spider-Man number? This is a massive movie, and a big accomplishment for Cruise. So Top Gun doing that is, and it's also, I think that as I've mentioned many times over, it's my favorite movie of the year thus far. And yes, I've seen Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, and I think that movie is fantastic. But I wanted to rush back into the theater and see Top Gun Maverick immediately afterwards, and it had nothing to do with nostalgia. It has nothing to do, because I'm a Top Gun fan, but it's not like I don't have the same type of attachment to it that I do like Rocky or Star Wars or any of those types of things. This was just, I was excited to see it because I loved the first movie, but it wasn't, oh man, this is going to be the best movie of all time and I can't wait. I'm like, all right, we'll see what Top Gun Maverick. It's going to be fun to watch Maverick again, and just being in awe of the film. And it seems like a lot of people now, I mean, there were a lot of people who wrote, I can't tell you how many tweets I got that people were saying, look, I thought you were hyping the movie up. I thought you were hyping it just because you were a fan of it. And you were right. It's great. I haven't seen a lot of people. You go to the review, whether it's the spoiler review that Mark Ellis and I did together, or it's my non-spoiler review. You can go through the comments. There are very few. There are some, but there are very few comments of people who didn't like the movie. There's some, for sure, but the majority that I've seen, it's the least divisive film that I've seen in quite a bit. Everything Ever All at Once certainly has a lot of people. I mean, it's just not as big of a movie, as far as budget, as far as reach, as far as all that goes. But that's another movie that people really love. Anyway, congratulations to Tom Cruise and everybody over there. It's a well-deserved feat to do. And moving on to keeping in the Top Gun realm. Keeping with the director himself. There it is. Where is it? Black Hole. This was a movie. I never really watched it as a kid. I'd heard about it a million times over, and people really talk about it. It's an old school Disney film, I think, right? I think so. Yeah, it didn't do very well, but I remember people talking about it. Anyway, let me tell you the story. Again, all these stories come from darkhorizons.com. Top Gun Maverick filmmaker Joseph Kosinski first arrived on the feature filmmaking scene over a decade ago with Tron Legacy, the film serving as a follow-up to the Disney's costly 1982 flop. Okay, never mind. Though not making enough to justify a sequel, the film was regarded enough that he went on to do Oblivion, Only the Brave, Maverick, and Spiderhead. Spiderhead, I just started watching. I haven't finished it yet. Back in the early 2010s, though, he and producer Sean Bailey were also toying with the idea of a remake of another Disney sci-fi flop from decades ago. Gary Nelson's 1979 feature, The Black Hole. In the original film, the crew of a space exploration vessel come into contact with crazed scientist Dr. Hans Reinhardt, the sole human aboard a giant ship that he plans on flying into a black hole. Robots man Reinhardt's ship, but the USS Palumbo's team discover a dark secret about them and Reinhardt's past. At the time, Dune, Prometheus, and passenger scribe John Spadis was hired to pen a rewrite of the script for the remake. The script was apparently completed and well regarded, but the studio canceled any plans for it. In 2016, Spates told, I believe that's it, Spates told Slash Film, I love that script. It sits uneasily in Disney's world as a dark epic, and Disney is in a very colorful place. It is very faithful to the original, but clever in all the ways that the first film was silly, I hope. Cut to this week, and Kosinski spoke with The Wrap about his various works when the topic of the long-forgotten Black Hole remake came up. Kosinski revealed that the film shared too many similarities to Christopher Nolan's space drama Interstellar, which ultimately killed it at the Mouse House. That's silly. However, he still says he loves the property, even if he's not sure how about doing the project. I still feel like that movie is one of the most unique that Disney's ever made. The original, I mean. It's wild. The idea of a journey to a black hole is still one of those things that is very intriguing because it's not science fiction. They do exist, and all the effects that happen around them are real physics. So there is a great story to be told about that journey. I just, at this point, haven't figured out what that would be for me. Kosinski has already set his next film. It's the racing movie Formula One, starring Brad Pitt, which will get a theatrical release, and then Apple TV. The original Black Hole is available on the Disney Plus service. All right, a lot there. For a lot of people, it's not like a massive story because there's nothing actually confirmed. It's just him saying, yeah, I'd love to do that movie. I think the silly note is, I drives me crazy, man, when studios, it's too similar to this, or it's exactly that, so we have to do more of that, but make it more exactly like the other movie. I mean, I guess if it's too confusing and, it's too dark, then maybe they scrap it. But I think from the sounds of it might be a good Disney Plus movie. I love that stuff. If you're brand new to this channel and brand new to me, I am fascinated with the idea of parallel universes and other timelines and black holes and all of that. So anytime, and then I am also very aware, and it's not just this town in general of Los Angeles, but it's how we are as movie fans. We are a what have you done for me lately culture, and I'm not telling you that, especially with entertainment, but and I don't mean you don't have a high regard for somebody. Let's say somebody put out a hit movie years ago. Oh, I love that guy; he was great. Of course we do that, but what I'm talking about is from the last movie that the person made. That's what you think of, and you say, okay, wait a minute. I saw that. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Yeah, I don't know. It could be a stinker. And I was feeling that a little bit for Krasinski, right? Tron, I thought was fine. Gorgeous. Looked great. Certainly better than the original. And the Daft Punk score was unreal. But I wasn't, after I saw the movie, I didn't like, oh man, I got to see a third one. It's just kind of a forgotten thing, and that was it. Oblivion, same thing. Looked gorgeous. Didn't care enough about the story, and didn't really dig it. I never saw the Firefighter movie, which everybody said was amazing. Some people say it's his best, even with Top Gun Maverick, but I haven't seen that one, so I couldn't judge that one. But going into this movie, and Top Gun Maverick, I didn't go into it thinking, oh man, I'm such a massive fan of Joseph Kosinski. But as I mentioned with the "What have you done for me lately," when you now, the reason I tuned into Spiderhead and started watching it was because he had just done Top Gun Maverick, which is my favorite movie of the year, and I wanted to see. Maybe he's kind of doing something else, and he's changed his directing style up a little bit, or whatever the writing is. And I will say, from what I've seen of Spiderhead so far, that was very intriguing. I don't know where it goes. I've watched maybe 45 minutes of it because I've been so entrenched in The Boys right now. So it was that. And what did we do? We watched something else. There was another movie that we watched. Oh, it was Hustle. It was Hustle that I watched last week, because we were watching Spiderhead, and then we turned on Hustle, and that was it. I loved Hustle. But anyway, I love what Kaczynski's doing right now. So an idea of Black Hole, but he's working on this other movie, this racing movie with Brad Pitt. So probably won't see Black Hole for a while. That's the news for that movie, and I'm sticking to it. All right, moving on. What should we get to next? I want to talk about Stranger Things, because that's coming around. The new one, the new season's coming up real soon, and I'm pretty pumped about it, like everybody else is. It's July 1st. And that's one I gotta binge that. I gotta binge it. I'm so excited for that series. And that's another one where season 1 I loved. 2 I thought was fine. 3 I thought was, I liked 3 better than most, I think. But I wasn't like, could not wait until 4 came out. I was like, all right, season 4, I'll watch it. And now I'm just like chomping at the bit for the next one, because it was such a fantastic season. And it's not over yet, because the volume 2 releases in just a few days. So this is a report. Stranger Things co-creators and showrunners Matt and Ross Duffer have confirmed that a Stranger Things spin-off is in development. Well, why wouldn't you if you're Netflix? Of course. As fans of the fantasy series await the supersized final 2 episodes of the 4th season this coming Friday, they're also bracing for the fact that the show's currently in the works for the 5th season, which will be the last. The Duffers haven't officially announced a spin-off, but they have previously teased there are still many more exciting stories to tell within the world of Stranger Things, with new mysteries, new adventures, new unexpected heroes. Now, through speaking with Deadline, the pair confirms that they're working on it, and tease won't be anything like you expect. Ross Duffer says, this was his quote, Ross Duffer says that there's a version of it developing in parallel to season 5, but they would never shoot it parallel. I think we're going to start delving into that as soon as we start winding down and finishing these visual effects. Matt and I are going to start getting into it. Matt Duffer says the reason we haven't done anything is just because you don't want to be doing it for the wrong reasons, and it was just like, is this something I would want to make regardless of it being related to Stranger Things or not? And the answer is definitely. Even if we took Stranger Things title off of it, I'm so excited about it, but it's not. It's going to be different than what everyone's expecting, including Netflix. Interesting. The comments come as the first volume of the 4th season has dominated the Netflix top 10 for weeks and has only been knocked off on its perch by the 3rd season of The Umbrella Academy, which arrived this week on the service. Even so, that run, released in late May, has broken all manner of English language records for the service and has put Kate Bush's famed 1985 running up that hill to the top of the charts globally, following its key role in the 4th episode's emotional ending, and into the trailer as well. Now, this makes sense on a lot of different reasons, right? Obviously, when you look at the heat that season 4 has right now, there is always talk about, I remember hearing about spin-off stuff, and as they mentioned in the beginning of that article, the Duffer Brothers were always talking about, well, there's other stories to tell inside of this world and what we can do, and you throw that out there for obvious reasons. one, if you really do have that, plus the idea that you want to continue on, you want to continue working, you want to continue moving and doing more things and selling some more stuff to Netflix. So you're always talking about those type of things, but you got to be excited about doing it too. You look at someone like David Chase, who was like, I'm done telling stories after this. And he even came back to do Many Saints, right? But from what they say is this is something they really want to do. Now, the question is, are they going to do something along what I would assume, or what I would not assume, but what I would guess is maybe they dive into getting past the 80s. However season 5 ends, will end in the 80s, whether it's the 90s or the 2000s or current. Now, one of the big draws for Stranger Things was the nostalgia fact. It was a different type of nostalgia than, say, like a Top Gun or a Cobra Kai, but there was a lot of nostalgia that was involved in Stranger Things because of the 80s genre and the authentic 80s feel. It wasn't, this just feels like someone who's trying to make an 80s show. The costuming, the feel, like when they would throw certain references in there, even music in the background, it felt authentic and not they were just trying to do an 80s show. But that was one of the draws. And they still continue to do that now. I mean, even like as we just mentioned with Kate Bush and how they're able to do things like that. Like that is a big draw of what makes Stranger Things so special. And that's not to say that they need that for the spinoff. They could do something completely different and bring it to a different realm. Or they might even, I don't know if they're going to do a prequel series and do stuff in the, I think that's a lot of times people do that, and I don't know if that'll necessarily work. And I shouldn't say that it wouldn't work, because you look at like Yellowstone, and Yellowstone keeps going back into the past, and they doing there's 1888, I can't remember. I don't watch the show yet. And then they're going to do 1932 or 1923, whatever the hell it is. So there you definitely could do the past, but who knows what these guys are going to do? And another thing that they did very well, I thought. And some people complained about it up top, but I don't think anybody's really complaining about it now. They talked about how they're going to, season 4 anyway, was going to go more into that, really lean into the horror aspect, and they do. And there were certain horror aspects in 1, 2, and 3, but 4 really dives into it and has that Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser feel. And what does the genre look like in the spinoff? Is it more horror? Is it less horror, more science fiction kind of family? Is it based more on kids? Is it based on adults? There's a lot you can do. And I mentioned Cobra Kai, and the same thing when I was talking to the creators of Cobra Kai a few months ago, whenever it was, when we were talking about the last season. They talked about they're thinking of spin-off stuff inside of their show. And why wouldn't you? If you can do it the right way and it makes sense and it's not just a grab and you have stories to tell, you should absolutely do it. And you know what you guys should absolutely do? You should absolutely 100% get yourself some Athletic Greens. How many times have I mentioned Athletic Greens on this show, and how many times will I continue to? Because they're coming back, because you're coming back, and you should be coming back, because this stuff is good. I love it. Just the other day when I went to that, I was running out of gas, guys. I was running out of gas, and I had right before I went to the event for Thor, threw it in a bottle, water. Shook it up, and I was cooking. I'm not a big like vitamins person, but I wanted a supplement that tasted good, that gave me the energy, and I got it. And I have Athletic Greens, and it's funny because the ones that I had on my computer, I'm running low on because I keep giving them to people. People keep wanting more every time they come back in. I use it all the time now. I just use it all the time. Like I said, it's great for an energy boost. I've been doing it for months now. And I'm going to take some, when I'm going on vacation soon, I'm going to take some with me. You take 1 scoop of Athletic Greens, and you take 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, source superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens, all of it. And you start your day right. It has a special blend of ingredients that supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, everything. It's great. I bring it with me when I travel. I love the taste. It is lifestyle-friendly, whether you eat keto, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, all of it. It supports mental clarity and alertness. It costs you less than $3 a day. It's cheaper than getting all the different supplements yourself, and it has over 7,000 5-star reviews, and it's recommended by professional athletes. It's time to reclaim your health. You arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That is it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. You make it easy. Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Head on over to athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And as I've talked about it many times over, and people always are asking me about the show, and they say, hey, how can I support the show? How can I help the show? And I said, well, why don't you, but not just help the show, why don't you help yourself? Get some Athletic Greens. That helps. Click on that link. Use that athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Get yourself some. Try some. Tell me about what you like about it in a comment, and then I can send that over to Athletic Greens, and then they come back. And we keep them on, and we keep on doing these shows for as long as we can. That's the goal. Keep on building this show. And as I mentioned, we're getting close to 50,000 subscribers, and that's because you guys just are sharing the videos, you're commenting on them, and more people are seeing them. So I cannot tell you how appreciative I am. Thank you so much for that. As we move on, Stranger Things. There are some more Stranger Things. There's another tidbit of Stranger Things news that I'll bring up real quick. Where is it? There was something. Oh, the Duffers say that they're gonna. This is a small storyline, but Duffer Brothers also talked about that they're gonna retroactively fix a continuity error with Will's birthday following events in the show's first volume of its 4th season. During the first part of this 4th run, part of the plot took place on March 22nd. Yet a second season episode had Winona Ryder's character Joyce indicate that March 22nd was Will's birthday. None of the characters ever acknowledged it in the new season. The Duffers have been asked about it in recent times, and they said continuity error. At least they're honest. As a result, Matt Duffer has told Variety that they're going to consider going back and retroactively dubbing Joyce's line in that second season to May 22nd. May can fit in Winona's mouth. It's too sad, and it doesn't make any narrative sense. But we're talking about it yesterday. I think we're going to George Lucas that. Lucas, of course, has famously gone back and digitally altered scenes throughout the original Star Wars trilogy in the years in its initial release. The comments come ahead of the show's second volume. I mean, look, I appreciate very much so how they were honest. And obviously people picked that up. I didn't pick it up right over my head. But people picked it up who are hardcore fans and said, hey, wait a minute, that's not Will's birthday. Or his friends are dicks and didn't say anything. And they said, now we messed up. We'll go back. We'll change it. Good for them. I love the fact that they just said, we screwed up. It happens. That's why you get coffee cups in Game of Thrones. It happens. And the audience is going to point it out. This isn't as big as the coffee cup, but it's pretty big, though. Mess up the character's birthday. But they said, hey, what do you want us to do? We gave you Vecna. Give me a break. So they're gonna change that. And I think that's good. That's good. Change it. Who cares? So his birthday's May now. Kid needs a haircut. If we move on here, we're going to talk. I want to talk about Elvis and the Black Phone, because that's a pretty big story as well. Where are we? There we are. Both these movies did good, man. And it's so funny. I saw somebody the other day, like, do you like any movie? Because I guess, and my out of the theater reaction for Thor, people weren't exactly sure what I felt about. Do you like any movie? And I said, I literally just posted 3 movie reviews back to back to back where I scored them higher than a 4. Like, come on. Just because I didn't like the movie you wanted me to like. Give me a break. It's obnoxious. Anyway, the weekend box office estimates are coming in, and both newcomers are performing better than expected. It's good news. Baz Luhrmann. It's not Baz, it's Baz. Take it easy. Baz Luhrmann over-the-top biopic Elvis, starring Austin Butler and Tom Hanks, is on track for a 30 to 32 million opening following a 12.7 million Friday haul. I'm going to check in a second what they actually did. That's on par, slightly above early estimates, which predicted it would come in around 25 to 30. It's also seeing older female audiences turn out, the demographic that has been the hardest to lure back to cinemas. That's interesting. For Elvis, I guess that makes sense. Elvis is set to duke it out for the top spot with Top Gun Maverick, which it looks like it beat it, which continues to do considerable business. We talked about that. That movie is pissed. Yeah, it's pissed everybody off. Just talking about that. Jurassic World will take 3rd place for its weekend with a 56 drop, 26 million. 4th place is Black Phone, which is coming in considerably above estimates. The movie was projected to debut with 15 million early this week, but now it's on track to cover 23. It's so funny. We'll talk about that movie in a second, too. Strange. Lightyear will, and I loved it, by the way, Lightyear will round up the top 5 with a steep 64% drop in its second weekend to a further 18 to 20 million weekend haul. It gives us 4, possibly 5 films catering to different audiences, putting each one to 20 million. That's the kind of numbers exhibitors are very happy about. The rest of the top 10 climbs in with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is still out in the theater. All right, I'm going to do something real quick. I want to bring up Box Office Mojo while I talk about this stuff, because there's a lot of interesting news here in general. This is a very strong weekend for the theater in general, right? Okay, Top Gun Maverick. Actually, Top Gun Maverick and Elvis were tied from what this says at 30.5. It's very strong for Top Gun. I mean, come on, that movie's been out. You know, what the hell? I was going to see a screening of Elvis, I believe. And this guy and his wife come in, and they're like, where do you get the tickets? Is this the tickets for, I'm like, for Elvis? I'm like, no. We're here to see Top Gun. I'm like, oh, you got to just buy a ticket over the thing. But people are still coming in to see Top Gun, and this was an older couple that was coming in to see it, and it's just because that word of mouth is tearing up, and it's a massive movie. So the fact that movie is still tied at number 1 and overtook Dominion and overtook Lightyear, that's big. But Elvis at 30.5, that's a big opening for that movie. Like, what did that movie cost overall to make? They never show the budget anymore. What's the Elvis movie budget? I mean, movies budgets are so big now, even bigger than I mean, Elvis budget 2022, let's see. 85 million. That movie never gets made for 85 million, like 5 or 10 years. That's like a 20 or 30 million dollar movie. But 85, I guess, is the new 30 million. Still, it's cheaper for most, but 85 million. And I really enjoyed Elvis, the movie, a lot. I was hoping it was going to be good, and I was kind of blown away by it. Seeing not mixed reviews. I see a lot of people who liked it, and then I see some people say they were bored with it. I don't know how you're bored with that movie. I think that it is pure energy. But hey, to each their own. Let's see. I want to see Elvis. I want to see what the runtime was. Runtime was it 240? Wow, it didn't feel like 240. It didn't feel like 240. I was locked in. But maybe it was 240. I was locked into it, man. Jurassic World Dominion. That movie has done pretty well overall, as we knew it would. Lightyear, though, is the biggest. It's only made 152 million worldwide. Wow. 80, not even 100 million yet domestic. Oof. That's a big bum. Not bomb, but it's a big disappointment. Big disappointment for Pixar, for sure. I was just talking to somebody, a friend of mine, who has kids and was watching it and said that this is kind of a mild spoiler, but I'm not going to give not a full spoiler on Lightyear. Said what they did with Zurg just didn't work for her kids, because her kids were these massive Zurg Lightyear fans of how it worked out, and she made a good point. I really liked Lightyear, by the way, but she made a good point. And she said that as complicated as this movie was, that the movie inside of, the Toy Story universe, the story of Buzz Lightyear, Andy was supposed to be a 7-year-old movie, or a 7-year-old kid, or 8 or whatever he was when he got the toy. That this wouldn't be a movie that Andy would be jumping over the moon about, because it was more like Interstellar. This movie was made for the kids, the kids who grew. This is more like the Interstellar crowd. It's kind of complex, where like a 4 or 5-year-old watching it is like, my 4-year-old, when she watches this, is not gonna pick up a lot of the stuff, and even the stuff that with Zurg. And so it was a good point that she had made, and her kids they were super excited to see it. And the kids were kind of bummed by it, and they had to basically lie to their children, and tell them, like, oh no, the writers messed that, the people who made this movie kind of messed that part up, because it negates some of the stuff that happened in Toy Story 2 or 3. So and I hear a lot of people kind of complaining about that stuff too. So it's not really a surprise. Again, I enjoyed the film, but it's one of those movies that I'm not. There's sometimes when I see a movie that I love and people are like on the opposite side of it, I'm like, I don't understand that point. I don't get it. It's your point, but I don't get it. I understand all the criticisms, and I understand why, for the story, just for the story points of, like, especially the ending. why people thought it was a little too complex, these other things. Anyway, that was that. But Elvis and Black Phone. And Black Phone is, again, a movie that, and this is why I was going to talk about how I'm so confused by it. And I can look at, when I put a trailer reaction out or when I put a review out, I can usually tell, and maybe it's a little different now too, where when Ellis and I would do reviews, there was like, we would put reviews out of certain movies, and even the big release movies, there were certain, like the smaller movies, anytime we did reviews on them, you would see the lesser engagement and whether it was views or comments or any of those things. You would see that because not a lot of people knew about them, and it wasn't the big releases. The big releases always got a lot of like hype behind them or interaction with them. And I'm noticing now with comparison to my channel now with the out of the theater reactions. So if I put an out of the and by the way, I hear all the stuff you guys are saying. People, you seem to really like those. I'm going to do more of them. No matter what I see, I will do the out of the theater reactions, because you look at something like Elvis, and Elvis, even though it's like smaller as compared to, like, I put the Thor one out, and that one does like 90,000 views. I put the Elvis one out, it does like 20,000, which is a decent number for that movie. And then Black Phone does barely 10 or 12 or whatever it did, and then the review itself did like 4,000. I'm like, oh, maybe people just don't want to see this movie. Maybe people just want to see me talk about this movie. Who knows? But then I looked, I don't see a lot of, even when the trailer reaction hit, I thought everybody was going to be talking about this movie. The trailer reaction didn't do jack shit. And I was like, again, thinking maybe it was people just don't want to see me talking about horror. But it didn't catch a lot of traction on a lot of different channels and a lot of different things. And there wasn't a lot of interest behind it, I thought. But it's doing really well. And it should be doing well because it's a really good movie. There's just a couple things that I had a few issues with in the movie, with like fights. But it's a nitpick. I really enjoyed the movie, because I had 3 movies back to back to back. I watched Black Phone, I watched Elvis, and then I watched Thor. And I can't review. I'll just tell you, like, in how I enjoyed them and seeing them again. Right now, out of the 3, it would be Elvis, Black Phone, and then Thor. Those are my 3 out of the 3 that I saw. And I wasn't expecting that ranking at all. Seeing that. But Black Phone was talking about it before when I was talking about with the Stranger Things, the nostalgia inside of the 80s and having like an authentic tone to it, making it feel like 80s. They do that very well in the 70s for Black Phone. So I'm glad that both those movies did well. And Elvis, that Austin Butler kid, man, this is just it's an incredible performance, and I hope he's recognized that he'll at least get nominated for Elvis. At least he should. He really should. Now, if he wins, I don't know. The problem is that the movie's coming out the movie is out now in June, and then it's usually between like the end of September until December when they start firing all the Oscar performances at you. So I hope he doesn't get lost. But I think that Bohemian Rhapsody, I think that came out in the summertime. Am I wrong? I might be. It might come out in October. Let me see. Let's see. Bohemian Rhapsody release date. Let's see what that is. I think maybe more I said. I think that it was in October or something. We got to put the movie. Sorry, it was November. Yeah, it was November. So November 2nd, right when in the sweet spot when you put things out. So he might not get. He'll get a nomination, I think, but I don't think he's going to win because I think there's going to be so many people firing out performances that people are going to remember. But I thought Austin Butler was incredible, and people giving Tom Hanks some crap about Colonel Tom Parker. I thought he was great. I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe the makeup. I thought. I mean, it's just anytime you have such a recognizable actor like Tom Hanks putting on that kind of makeup and the suit, maybe it's jarring for them. It wasn't though. It blended in for me. But Austin Butler and Lerman were the 2 that stole the show. All right, what else we got? We got some more stuff to talk about before I scoot on out of here. We got this one. Oh, I talked about Deadpool. Should bring Deadpool up. What the hell happened to Deadpool? I got rid of the Deadpool? What the hell? Wait a minute. I thought I had a Deadpool image. I deleted it. I didn't have one. Oh, that's stupid. Anyway. All right, Deadpool. I'll tell you about what the writer said in a second here. Deadpool as the MCU is Deadpool 3 is moving on, and they're basically, here it is. I got it. Sorry, everybody. It's one of those days. Boom. There's Deadpool. I thought I put that in there before. I guess not. All right. Deadpool is now going to be part of the MCU. We know that. And the writers had an interview, and the third film in the Deadpool franchise it's been in development now for years. There's fans curious about how it's going to integrate itself with the new owners of the Disney brand. The film is an official part of the decidedly not R-rated MCU, which begs the question of how is that going to work with Deadpool's style of self-awareness, parody, abrasiveness, and lewdness. Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick spoke to Post-Cred Pod about adapting to the MCU, and they seem to be playing it straight, not changing Deadpool himself so much as the world around him to be the regular MCU. Reese says it's a wonderful opportunity for a fish-out-of-water comedy. Deadpool is a lunatic at the center of a movie. To drop a lunatic into a very sane world, it's straight butter. It's going to be really fun. We're absolutely finding the serendipity and the gold in that situation, or at least we're trying to. Deadpool is going to be Deadpool. Now, whether it comes to a particular joke, if we cross the line, maybe we'll hear it at some point. Maybe not that joke, but I think that Disney has been incredibly supportive of what we're doing. Marvel Studios still hasn't set a release date for the third Deadpool, though it's widely expected to be coming out in 2024. That gives you some time to develop out a little bit more. Yeah, I think that they're going to absolutely. It gives time for a lot of different things, and this is why it drives me crazy when I see these. I see these comments a lot on whether it happens a lot on Star Wars, where people are like, well, Disney Star Wars. Disney doesn't know how to make Star Wars. But it's not Disney that's making Star Wars. Now they're certainly giving notes, and there's certain things that Lucasfilm is making Star Wars the same way, like, because you can't pick and choose, because if you like The Mandalorian, if you like Mandalorian, if you liked Rogue One, if you like those movies, did you give Disney credit for that? No, you gave Lucasfilm and Favreau, and of course you give Disney should get. They give money, they give notes, they have ideas, they have these things. And as you look at with Deadpool, there are things like, hey, remember, we're a family brand, but look, we understand what you guys have came before. Let's figure out a way to make that work. And then they give notes, they do their thing, and as they said, if you cross the line, there's certain things you can't put on the platform because of the Disney brand, of course. But they're not the ones making the creative thing. If Deadpool's a hit and it's massive, you're not going to give Disney, you're not going to say, oh, Disney did a great job with this. But if it's not good, you're going to blame it on Disney for the creative side of it, no matter what it is. And it's like the same thing when it comes to like Star Wars. It's like I keep seeing like, well, Disney has no idea how to make Star Wars. It's not Disney making it. It's Lucasfilm making it. They're giving them the money, and again, they give notes. So it's Endgame. Did you like Endgame? Did you like Infinity War? Did you like any of the Marvel movies? Did you give Disney credit for that? No, you didn't. You gave Feige the credit for it, and he should. It's him and his team, and Disney gave him the money. Unless there's a report that says like, well, no. There was a full movie and there was a full TV show shot. Disney pulled all of it and gave them their script and said, shoot that. Then 100% go after it. But you just be, and you got to be picky and choosy. You can't be picky and choosy on what you what you blame and what you give credit for. But I'm also being very clear. There's a lot of stuff, and I'm trust me, I hear it. You're too negative on Obi-Wan. There's a lot of stuff I didn't like about Obi-Wan. A lot of stuff I liked. A lot of stuff I didn't like. But I blame the stuff I didn't like. I blame Lucasfilm and the creators on the side of the stuff. And there's a lot of people, the stuff I didn't like, that loved it. So they did a great job for those people. And that's but again, I say, well, look, I didn't necessarily like, I shouldn't say blame. I don't necessarily love a lot of the creative choices that were made on particular episodes. A lot of people love them. But I say I didn't like the choices that were made by Lucasfilm. I didn't like the choices that were made by Deborah Chow and the writing team. I don't know what the hell Disney had to do with that. They give him money. Maybe I could. What I could say is I wish they would have given him a little more money and if they did, maybe they could have given him some more money to change up the volume. Sometimes looked a little too CW-ish. So anyway, it's just a little pet peeve that drives me nuts. Yeah, it's the same reason. Like, when you watch like, if you're watching Zack Snyder's Justice League, and after everything that he did for that movie, clearly, like, I love the Snyder Cut, love it, and when you watch it, you clearly don't say, "Oh, Warner Brothers did a great job there." You give Zack Snyder the credit. It was the full version of everything he wanted to do and put everything in there. But like but it's like, it was all Warner Brothers. Of course it wasn't. They gave him the money. They let him do it at the very end. They let him put together that cut and release it. But it wasn't. It was his vision. It was his writing. It was all that stuff too. So that's what I meant by it. It's not Warner Brothers. They own the properties. It's their. They own the properties themselves. But the creative, that's what you bring it in. The same reason, like, you go back in time. It's like, it's not Paramount's Godfather. They had producers and stuff that worked on The Godfather, but it was Coppola and Mario Puzo and all these people that put in all the work, and that's why you got the product that you got, because Paramount has the money. It's like, oh, Paramount's Godfather. I mean, yeah, sure, you certainly gave him the credit for owning it, but you give the anytime, and it's like we just talked about Kaczynski. When you look at a movie like Oblivion, which I didn't love, I guess Paramount made it. I don't blame Paramount for it. I blame. Again, I look at it and I go, I didn't like what Kaczynski did there. It looked beautiful, but the writing didn't work for me. Tarantino films, do you give it to the studio when you like a Tarantino film? You say Tarantino. Anyway, I know it's different. It's not. It's just because there's a lot of money involved. Not saying don't criticize, and that's the other thing that drives me crazy. Just accept what you're given and just enjoy what you're given. I love that people can do that. I don't want to do that. If I don't like something, I want to say I don't like something. I'm not telling you, but that's the difference, though. There are people who say, like, well, it sucks, and if you like it, then you're not a real fan, and you like this. That's wrong. But I should also be able to say that something sucks, that I think something sucks, and not have someone go, well, just be positive and accept what you got. No, I don't want to do that. You can do that, and I love that you do that. And I don't think anybody should give you shit for doing that. I think that's incredible. And I don't think you're a shill for doing it. I don't think that you're someone who just loves everything and, I can't listen to you because you love everything. I love that you can do that. I think you should do that. But like when I see people commenting going, oh, just accept it. It's just, instead of saying like, oh, like, I wish we would have gotten this. Why not just love what we got? I'm glad that you did that. I don't want to do that. I don't think I should have to do that if I don't want to do that. There are certain things that I can watch and say, holy shit, I love that. That was great. I love what they did there. That would have been great if they did that. But I'm not protesting. I'm not angry about it. But I should be 100% be able to say whatever the hell I want to say about it without you or somebody else saying, well, you should just be more positive about it. Because I can't even tell you, it was hilarious. Like not even too long ago, or what it was. It was the Obi-Wan thing. I posted out my instant reaction, and within minutes, some people writing, oh, Harloff's a shill that just likes to go to premieres. I hate going to premieres, by the way. That's something to let you all know. I like not the premieres. The premieres themselves are fun. They are exciting. I am grateful for the fact that we were able to go there and talk to people and have some fun and all that. I am tired all of the time. Do you understand that? This movie started at like 8 o'clock. They end at like 11. And I don't care about seeing celebrities. I don't. I went to the Thor premiere, had a great time, and I'm super grateful that I get the able to go and all that stuff. But when I go there, it's like it's also I want to get the reaction out to you guys. I want to make sure that like I cover it and I have the experience to do that and to get it out faster and to 100%. And that was the other thing on the instant reaction. People couldn't make up their minds. Was I a shill that liked going to premieres, or was I someone that was negative that was looking for something that I didn't get? Within seconds. You can't please everybody though too, and that's the thing. I'm not upset about it. It's just the same thing. I just feel you should let people react however they're going to, but don't force your point of view on it, no matter what it is. Like, there are tons of these, there are tons of channels that I think that you can be honest about. If you don't like something, you should be able to say it, and I don't think you should get shit for not liking something. I do think that you should get shit for not liking someone and forcing someone else to feel that way because they're wrong or they're not a real fan if they like what they're getting now. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because I'll tell you what, inside of this little community that we're in, and it's small, it's not as big as you think it is. It's small. There are people outside in the regular world who don't give a shit about this stuff. And they'll like whatever the fuck they want. I don't care about being like. Tell Matt Serra that he's a shill for liking for liking the movies that he likes. Go ahead, tell him face to face. I dare you. Have a blast with that. He doesn't give a shit. He likes movies that he likes, and he doesn't like what he doesn't like. And that's the type of stuff that in the like the regular world view people is the type of stuff that I'm really responding to more. And I talk to my friends who are not connected to this business. I call my buddies in New York and I listen to them and hear what they're saying about the movies. And it's refreshing because they don't have this. It's the social media thing too, about how people just yelling at each other and how it's like, you have to do this, you can't do that, you have to do this, you can't do that. It's like, just watch the movie, and you don't like it, you don't like it. And say it. You don't like it, you don't like it. You don't love it. If you love it, you love it. Who cares? You make people feel guilty about what they like or don't like. It's so silly and self-righteous. Anyway. Anything else? Oh, that went off on a thing. I'm going to see if there's any more. Hello. Oh, Deadpool. Did we even talk about Deadpool at all? Not really. No, I don't think I talked about him at all. I love the idea that Deadpool, I like how he reminded me, hey, talk about me. I think that they can, as long as they have the team behind it and they're allowed to do what they want. Now, again, after I had that whole speech, we will be able to see that this is a different situation now. We will be able to see, because of the transfer over from what Deadpool is in Deadpool 3, if there's a significant change in how he is and with the jokes that they're able to get away with, and it doesn't feel like one or two at all, well, then that's clearly going to seem like a Disney note. Now, they're the ones that aren't going to write the script, but they're going to be responsible for that if it's clearly like you look at like Batman and Robin. When you look at the difference between Batman 89 and Batman and Robin, that's Warner Brothers. That's Warner Brothers involving themselves, replacing directors, giving specific notes to Joel Schumacher. That's 100% when you go, okay, well, that's a lot of meddling by the studio in general. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. That happens a lot. It just doesn't happen all of the time, and you can't constantly put the blame. But Disney will be in that position if Deadpool 3 is significantly different. However, from what the writers are saying, it doesn't seem to be the case. And we'll find out. 2024 probably sounds realistic. I don't know. I think that's it. I'm going to look if there's anything else. Is there anything else? No, I think I covered everything. That's it. All right, I had a blast here today. I had a lot of fun. The episode came out a little later than I wanted to. But either way, make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're almost there, man. We're almost there, 50,000. We should be there, hopefully. I want to get there by July 1st. We'll see. June 1st was supposed to be pie in the face, so that won't happen. I got to come up with something else. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Please comment. Let me know. And once again, please, please, please get yourself some athletic greens. It would really helpful for the show. All right, I appreciate you. We'll see you on the flip side. All right, peace.